The Liber Iuratus Honorii, or the Sworn Book of Honorius, stands as a monumental work in the history of Western esotericism and ceremonial magic. Dating back to the 13th and 14th century, this grimoire is one of the oldest of its kind, weaving together strands of Judeo-Christian angelology, Solomonic magic, and pre-Renaissance Hermetic philosophy. It is attributed to Honorius of Thebes, a man so enigmatic he might as well been the Banksy of medieval magic. Imagine him sneaking around, tagging cathedrals with sigils. Central to the Liber Iuratus is its overarching goal: to facilitate the practitioner's direct experience of the divine, also known as the beatific vision. This ambition places the text within the theurgical tradition, wherein magic is used to achieve religious and spiritual ends rather than for mere worldly gain. The text meticulously outlines the preparations and rituals necessary for this spiritual work, emphasizing the importance of purity, fasting, and prayer, thereby seeking to align magical practice with Christian piety. The Liber Iuratus' content is extensive and varied, offering instructions for the consecration of magical tools, invoking angels and spirits, and creating talismans. It reflects a comprehensive view of the universe and humanity's place, bridging the material and the spiritual, the human and the divine. This blend of practical magic and spiritual goals indicates the text's ambition to serve as a guide to the esoteric seeker. Before we embark on our journey today, I warmly invite you to become a more integral part of our community by subscribing to my newsletter. In an age where digital platforms can unpredictably change or disappear, securing your direct line to my work ensures you never miss out on the richness of content I offer. You can easily subscribe by following the link in the bio, the cards, the info box, or the pinned comment. There, you will also discover various ways to support Angela Symposium, a project fueled by your incredible support. Dive into the services I provide at drangelapuca.com and consider joining our inner symposium through Patreon, Ko-fi, or YouTube memberships. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the generous individuals who have made this journey of shared knowledge possible for everyone. Today's exploration promises to be exceptionally enriching as we delve into the mysteries of the Liber Iuratus, also known as the Sworn Book of Honorius. To enhance our exploration, this video is part of a collaboration with my dear friend and colleague, Dr. Justin Sledge, who over on his channel Esoterica will illuminate the historical context of the Sworn Book of Honorius, particularly focusing on the anti-magic campaign of Pope John XXII. So don't forget to check out Dr. Sledge's video and say hi in the comments on my behalf. Now let the symposium begin. Hello Symposiast! I'm Dr. Angela Puca, Religious Studies PhD, and this is your online resource for the academic study of magic esotericism, paganism, shamanism, and all things occult. The widespread dissemination and survival of numerous manuscripts across Europe attest to the Liber Iuratus' significant influence throughout the medieval period. It laid the groundwork for later magical texts, such as the Key of Solomon and the Lemegeton, thereby shaping the Western magical tradition in profound ways. Its synthesis of magic and spirituality has made it a subject of enduring fascination and study. Imagine if medieval Europe had Twitter. The Liber Iuratus would definitely be trending, with hashtags like #MagicGoals and #SpellbookSquad. Recent academic interest has brought a renewed focus on the Liber Iuratus, examining its sources, historical context, and influence on subsequent esoteric and magical practices. Led by scholars such as Gösta Hedegård, Claire Fenger, and Richard Kiekefer, the Hogwarts Faculty of Medieval Magic Studies. They don't have wands, but their pens are mightier than any sword or spell. As a foundation for the exploration of Western magical practice, the Liber Iuratus offers insights into the medieval worldview, the synthesis of magic and religion, and the enduring quest for knowledge and spiritual power. Its study not only illuminates the past, but also enriches our understanding of the ongoing appeal of historic traditions in the modern world. The Liber Iuratus, or the Sworn Book of Honorius, is traditionally attributed to Honorius of Thebes, a figure steeped in the lore of medieval magic. This attribution serves not only to grant the text an air of ancient wisdom and authority, but also to situate it within a mythic lineage of magicians who were believed to have access to divine knowledge. Honorius's historical existence is not documented outside of the magical tradition, making him more of a symbol of esoteric wisdom than a historical figure. This legendary authorship connects the Liber Iuratus to a lineage of sacred texts purportedly revealing the hidden truths of the universe. The Sworn Book of Honorius offers everything from consecrating magical tools to creating talismans. It's like the Martha Stewart living of the esoteric world. Today we will be crafting a talisman to keep demons at bay, right after these messages. It is, in fact, one of the most comprehensive grimoires of its time, encapsulating a vast array of magical practices within a Christian framework. Its primary aim is to enable the practitioner to achieve the beatific vision, a direct experience of God, which is presented as the ultimate spiritual attainment. I feel like aiming for the beatific vision is like trying to get a VIP backstage pass to the divine. Excuse me, I've been fasting and praying. Can I get into the beatific vision club, please? Anyhow, to this end, the text outlines a meticulous system of preparation and ritual, including the preparation of the magician, emphasizing moral purity, fasting, confession, and prayer, reflecting the text's synthesis of Christian piety with magical practice. Then we have the consecration of magical tools, which contains detailed instructions for creating and consecrating the instruments of magical practice, such as wands, seals, and talismans. Then we have the invocation of angels and spirits. Here we find methods for summoning angelic beings and spirits, including their names and sigils, highlighting the text's integration of Judeo-Christian angelology with magical tradition. Also, there's the creation of talismans, where we find instructions for making talismans designed to harness celestial influences, protect against demonic forces, and achieve various magical effects. The manuscript tradition of the Sworn Book of Honorius spread faster than cat videos on the internet. It was the medieval version of going viral, but with more Latin and less dancing. These attest to its widespread influence throughout medieval Europe. Numerous manuscripts have survived, varying significantly in content and detail, which indicates the text's popularity and the adaptations it underwent as it was copied and circulated. These manuscripts are found in several European languages, including Latin, the scholarly lingua franca of the Middle Ages, which facilitated its dissemination among the educated elite. The distribution of these manuscripts across Europe suggests that the Liber Iuratus was not only a subject of scholarly interest, but also a practical manual for magicians, clerics, and lay practitioners of magic. The text's survival in various cultural contexts underscores its adaptability and the enduring appeal of its quest for divine knowledge. The rise of rationalism and scientific inquiry significantly impacted the reception of magical texts such as the Liber Iuratus. As the Enlightenment hit, magical texts were looked at with more suspicion than a witch at a pool party.
You mean to tell me you float because of your profound spiritual insight, not because you're a witch?
The new intellectual climate favored tangible, empirically verifiable knowledge over the speculative and the mystical. This shift was not merely philosophical, but had tangible effects on the publication, study, and practice of magic. Libraries and scholarly circles that once might have treasured such texts increasingly viewed them with suspicion and derision, relegating them to the status of historical curiosity rather than sources of viable knowledge. This change did not, however, lead to the complete disappearance of interest in historic texts. Rather, it pushed their study into more private, specialized, or underground channels. During the early 19th century, the landscape of Western historicism was significantly enriched by the contributions of pivotal figures and the establishment of secretive societies, all of whom sought to reconcile the rich traditions of the past with the burgeoning ethos of Enlightenment thought. Then came Francis Barrett, the magical influencer of the 1800s. Think of him like the Kim Kardashian of occult knowledge, but instead of beauty tips, he's dropping magical wisdom. His seminal work, the Magus, published in 1801, is a comprehensive compendium of occult knowledge that draws heavily on the tradition of medieval and Renaissance magic, including the principles and practices found in the Sworn Book of Honorius. Barrett's engagement with the Liber Iuratus went beyond mere citation. He sought to contextualize its wisdom within the broader spectrum of natural magic, alchemy, and the nascent field of spiritual science. His work reflects a profound respect for the text's synthesis of magic and spirituality, aiming to present it in a manner that was accessible and relevant to the scholarly and practical interests of his time. Barrett's The Magus served as a bridge between the esoteric knowledge of the past and the intellectual curiosity of the Enlightenment. By incorporating the teachings of the Sworn Book of Honorius, Barrett provided a template for integrating ancient magical practices with contemporary philosophical inquiries into the nature of the divine, the cosmos, and the human soul. His work underscored the possibility of a harmonious blend between the rigor of Enlightenment thought and the depth of esoteric spirituality, paving the way for future generations of occult practitioners to explore these intersections. The era also witnessed the formation of various secretive societies and occult orders, which became custodians of historic knowledge and practice. These organizations were not merely social clubs for the like-minded. They were serious about the study and practice of historic teachings, including those found in the Liber Iuratus and similar texts. They endeavored to preserve these ancient wisdoms while adapting them to the philosophical and cultural milieu of their time. The societies often incorporated principles of Enlightenment inquiry, such as a critical approach to knowledge and an emphasis on individual spiritual development, into their interpretations and practices of esotericism. This melding of tradition and modernity created a unique environment in which ancient magical practices were revitalized, studied, and expanded upon within the framework of contemporary thought and society. These developments during the early 19th century marked a significant moment in the history of Western esotericism, where the reverence for ancient texts like the Liber Iuratus was reaffirmed, and their teachings were woven into the fabric of modern occult practice. Through the efforts of individuals like Francis Barrett and the activities of secretive societies, the Sworn Book of Honorius's legacy was preserved and enriched, ensuring its continued influence on the development of Western magical and spiritual traditions. This period also witnessed the compilation and publication of grimoires that included material from or inspired by the Liber Iuratus, ensuring its transmission to future generations. The esoteric revival of the late 19th and early 20th century, spearheaded by movements such as the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, drew heavily on the magical tradition in which the Liber Iuratus is a key text, blending its teachings with new magical and mystical systems. During the Occult Revival, influential figures and esoteric orders did not merely revisit texts like the Sworn Book of Honorius as historical curiosity. They sought to understand, utilize, and integrate these ancient manuscripts into their practices, seeing them as keys to revealing the mysteries of the universe. The resurgence of interest in the Liber Iuratus was emblematic of this broader movement to reclaim and revitalize Western magical traditions. This period witnessed a synthesis of the Liber Iuratus's medieval magic with the emergent occult philosophies, creating a new, vibrant lineage of ceremonial magic that continued to evolve into the 20th century and beyond. The late 20th and early 21st centuries have witnessed a significant resurgence in Grimoire Traditionalism within the broader context of contemporary occultism. This movement has been characterized by a renewed interest in historical grimoires, such as the Sworn Book of Honorius, as practitioners seek authenticity and a deeper connection to the roots of Western magical traditions. The rise of Grimoire Traditionalism is like a magical renaissance, or should I say a re-enchantment. Suddenly everyone's dusting off their ancient spellbooks like they are finding old vinyl records in the attic. Wow, look, original edition Liber Iuratus, still in Latin! Within this resurgence, the Liber Iuratus has been embraced by a variety of contemporary movements and figures in the occult community. Its comprehensive approach to magic, blending theurgical practices with a structured system of ritual magic, has made it a touchstone for those seeking to reconnect with the historical roots of Western esotericism. Scholars and practitioners alike have contributed to the re-evaluation and integration of the Sworn Book of Honorius into modern practice. Figures such as Stephen Skinner and David Rankin have brought attention to the Liber Iuratus and other historical grimoires through their scholarly work and practical guides. Their efforts have helped to bridge the gap between theoretical study and practical magic, making these ancient texts accessible to a wider audience. At the heart of Grimoire Traditionalism lies the quest for authenticity. Practitioners engaged in this movement often desire to connect with an unbroken lineage of Western esotericism, seeking to practice magic as closely as possible to how it was envisioned and performed by their predecessors. This quest for authenticity involves a rigorous study of the grimoires in their original languages, an understanding of the historical and cultural context in which they were written, and when possible, adherence to the traditional materials, timings, and practices specified within the text. This authentic approach is believed to foster a deeper connection to the roots of Western magical traditions, providing a more profound spiritual experience and greater efficacy in magical work. It represents a deliberate counter-movement to what is perceived as the dilution or oversimplification of magical practices in some contemporary esoteric circles, where an eclectic or syncretic approach often prevails. Grimoire Traditionalism also embodies a broader cultural trend towards the reclamation and preservation of ancient wisdom. This trend reflects a growing recognition of the value of historical knowledge and practices, not merely as curiosity of the past, but as living traditions relevant to modern spiritual seekers. Practitioners and scholars alike have undertaken significant efforts to rediscover, transcribe, and translate ancient grimoires, many of which were previously inaccessible or available only in fragmentary or corrupted forms. The movement is not just about looking backwards. It's about bringing the wisdom of the past into dialogue with the present. It involves a critical engagement with ancient texts, where traditional practices are adapted to contemporary ethical standards and life conditions, while also striving to maintain the integrity of the original teachings. Grimoire Traditionalism often carries with it a critique of what is perceived as the superficiality of some modern esoteric practices. This critique is twofold. Firstly, it addresses the tendency towards eclecticism that, while offering a personalized and accessible approach to spirituality, may lack depth and coherence. And secondly, it challenges the commercialization of spirituality, where magical practices and symbols are stripped of their context and depth and repackaged as consumer products devoid of genuine spiritual content. By turning to the rigorous study and practice of historical grimoires, grimoire traditionalism practitioners seek to restore a sense of depth, authenticity, and seriousness to the esoteric arts. This movement does not reject innovation or the evolution of magical practices. Rather, it advocates for a grounded approach that respects the complexity and richness of the traditions from which these practices emerge. In summary, grimoire traditionalism in the late 20th and early 21st centuries represents a significant and multifaceted movement within contemporary occultism. It reflects a collective desire for authenticity, a commitment to the preservation of ancient wisdom, and a critical engagement with the state of modern esoteric practices, all aimed at fostering a deeper and more meaningful connection to the roots of Western magical traditions. Now on to the 21st century. Adapting the sworn Book of Honorius' practices for modern contexts often involves reinterpreting the text's underlying principles. Given the vast differences between medieval and contemporary worldviews, practitioners may need to modify certain rituals to align with current ethical standards, personal beliefs, and practical limitations. For instance, the original text's emphasis on purity and preparation might be interpreted in a modern context as a call for psychological readiness and personal integrity, rather than the strict adherence to physical abstentions. Furthermore, the digital age has introduced new means of accessing and interpreting the sworn Book of Honorius, with online forums and digital libraries facilitating the exchange of insights and methodologies among practitioners. This accessibility has led to innovative approaches to traditional practices, such as virtual group rituals or the use of digital tools for astrological calculations relevant to the text's operations. The Liber Iuratus' place in 21st century esoteric practice is not without controversy. Practitioners often debate issues of authenticity, relevance, and ethical practice. Some argue that the text's medieval Christian worldview and its complex, demanding rituals may not be directly applicable to the diverse spiritual landscapes of contemporary occultism. Others counter that the Liber Iuratus, like many grimoires, contains universal principles that transcend its historical and religious context, offering profound insights into the nature of theurgy and the cosmos. Additionally, there is an ongoing discussion about the ethical implications of summoning spirits and angels as outlined in the sworn Book of Honorius. Some practitioners emphasize the importance of respectful engagement with these entities, advocating for an approach that sees them as allies or guides rather than beings to be commanded. These debates reflect broader concerns within the occult community about the responsible use of power and the importance of spiritual integrity in magical practice. This is it for today's video. If you made it this far, congratulations! You're officially more dedicated than a monk copying manuscripts by candlelight. If they had coffee back then, they would probably never sleep. Also, leave me a crystal ball emoji and don't forget to check out Dr. Sledge's companion video on Esoterica YouTube channel. Now, my dear symposiasts, this project of delivering free academic knowledge based on peer-reviewed scholarship can only exist thanks to your support. So if you have the means and want to offer this knowledge to all, please consider supporting my work with a one-off PayPal donation by joining a membership, my inner symposium on Patreon, super thanking me in the comments, or checking out my services at drangelapuca.com. You can book private lectures, tutoring sessions, commission a video, and much more. All links are in a pinned comment and in the info box. Thank you for joining me on this magical history tour. Remember, subscribing to my channel is easier than summoning spirits and significantly safer. Smash that like button like it's a magic wand, and let's make this video more popular than the Liber Iuratus at a medieval book club. Until next time, keep your talismans charged and your spirits friendly. Hope you stay tuned for all the academic fun. Bye for now.